Good day, students. It's good to be with you. Edo welcomes you to this presentation for Computer Literacy 2. I congratulate you. I'm happy with you. Because why? You passed your assignment. So you are qualified to write Computer Literacy 2. What do I have for you today? Today, I'm going to give you a presentation that serves as a guide on how to go about your examination. However, I want you to take note that this presentation is for, number one, students that take diploma in junior primary education, DJPE CL2, and those students that are taking diploma in secondary education, DSE CL21. If you belong to any of these programs, taking Computer Literacy 2, then this program is for you. Once again, congratulations and welcome to this Institute for Open Learning, the best institute on earth when you talk about distance education. Here, we teach others to copy. We lead and they follow. This presentation is for which of the examinations? It's for 2021 examination, for the April exam, August examination, and the supplementary examination that takes place in November. So if you are going to write any of this examination in 2021, then this presentation is for you. Are you worried? Do you have examination fever? Are you a bit stressed? Mr. Edo, what am I going to study? Why? What will I read now? This book of computer literacy is too big. What will I study, Mr. Edo? I'm going to guide you today on how to go about it. So don't worry. Just relax and go along with this presentation. Okay, my beloved students? Take note of this before we proceed. This presentation is not a scoop. It's a guide. Why do I say that? Why am I emphasizing on that? The reason is this. I have seen situations where students finish the examination. Immediately they come out of the examination, they take the phone and call, Mr. Edo, where are you? I say, I am home. Listen here, Mr. Edo. Why did you give us questions that are not in your scope? That the question I ask is that, did I give you a scope? No. I did not give you a scope. I guided you. I guided you. I did not tell you these are the questions that will come out. If I should tell you these are the questions that will come out, it is no longer examination. And I cannot tell you, read Unit 1, Paragraph 1, and leave Paragraph 2. No, examination does not work like that. You must be declared competent in all the expected learning outcome. So, for point of emphasis, this presentation is not a scope, but to guide you. What should you do in order for you to pass your examination? You must, let me say this very clear, revise all, let me not say all, let me say revise your assignment question paper. Revise your assignment question paper. I mark your assignment. I return the assignment booklet back to you. In the assignment, I made some 1 or 2 comments telling you this is what you did wrong. This is how to go about it. You see, those little suggestions that I gave to you, please Do not ignore them. Do not make the same mistake. So what I'm trying to say is, go back and revise that assignment booklet. Look at the way the questions were and how I corrected you. Another thing that you must do again, go to your student portal, download the past examination question papers. Download the past examination question papers. Go through the examination question papers. Why? When you are used to something, you don't get afraid of it again. When you are used to something, you don't get afraid of it. It's going to reduce the stress, the anxieties that comes with the examination. By the time you review, by the time you revise 4 years, 3 years examination question papers, you must have seen the pattern, the format of the examination. You must have seen how the questions are structured. Therefore, it's not going to be a surprise to you in the exam. It will become a familiar territory for you. So, download the past examination question paper, answer the questions, attempt the questions, and do you know what? You can answer the question, email them to me, I will correct and email them back to you. Can you see? You can answer them, take a picture of them, send that to me on WhatsApp. I will mark them. I will not going to mark everything, but at least I will go through them and correct you. That process of you trying examination question paper to see how you can answer will prepare you adequately competent before the real examination. In the military, they say, train hard, fight easy. Train hard, fight easy. So during the process of you preparing, prepare very hard. Then examination become easy. So another thing that I want you to do that will be of a very good help to you. Do you remember, or can you remember, that when we finished the assignment, we sent you the tutor, the marker feedback? What do we have in that feedback? Why is the feedback necessary document for you to go through? Of what importance is that feedback to you? The feedback contains, number one, common errors that students make. The feedback contains suggestions from the examiner. The feedback contains basic steps on how to answer questions. If you do not check the feedback that I gave to you in your assignment, there is that tendency, there is that possibility that you will repeat the same mistake again in the examination. So do not ignore the feedback. Don't be overconfident of yourself. Go through the feedback so that you don't repeat such mistakes when it comes to the examination. So 3 very important documents that I've mentioned here. Number 1, your assignment, go through it. Number 2, the past examination question paper, download them and go through them, try to answer them. Number 3, check the assignment feedback and previous examination feedback also. Check also previous examination feedback. Do you understand? Yes. Now you can smile and see why I told you I will guide you through. You know, I said before, Jesus Christ, when he was going back to heaven, he said, I will send you a helper. And the helper will help you understand these things that are written in the book of the law. Iol have sent Edo to you to help you on computer literacy. Don't worry, you will pass. I can see somebody saying amen. Amen. God will answer your prayer. You will pass. But remember, the Bible says also, you must work for it. Nah? So don't just pray alone, work for it. Good. Let us continue our presentation. When you get the question paper, what will be inside the question paper? You will be asked to answer all the questions. All the questions, you will answer them. Number 2, there is no practical sections in the examination. Because what am I saying? That when I gave you assignment, you did practicals for me on Microsoft Excel. You did practicals for me on Microsoft Publisher. You did practicals for me on PowerPoint. You remember? I gave you some practical work that you did for me, and you printed them out. You printed those things for me. But during the examination, there will be no practicals section in the exam. That is, you will not be given a computer to work on during the exam. No. However, those practical skills that you already acquired in your or during your assignment will be examined. I will talk more about this at a later stage in this presentation. The examination. Which unit will they come from? Will they come from Unit 1 only? No. Will it come from Unit 2 only? No. Will it come from Unit 3 only? No. The question covers the entire module. All the units in your module will be examined. So you have to read all the units. Cover your study guide from Genesis to Revelation, from the beginning to the end. Do not skip any unit. Do not look at any unit less necessary, less compulsory. No. Only 1 mark. It might be the units that you ignore that can make you to fail. Oh, this unit is not, I don't think it's necessary. Let me leave it. My lecturer used to tell me in the university, Edo, I say, sir, you don't know the value of 1 until you score 49. When you score 49, then you will know that 1 is very important. That 1 can come from a unit that you ignore. Then you end up with 49. Say, aye, Mr. Edo cannot just give me this 1. Aye, marks are not free. You earn it. So don't ignore. That 1 is a problem. Now, okay. I've discussed all this procedure about you downloading question paper, past question paper, feedback, and so many other things and other things. Please get used to them and start practicing with them today. The first question that you are going to have in your assignment, in your examination, will be multiple choice. In computer literacy 2, either 10 questions or 15 questions. I don't know which one is 10, which one is 15. It can be April, it can be, but either 10 or 15 multiple questions will be there. And these multiple questions covers the entire model. Meaning question 1 can come from Unit 1, question 2 can come from Unit 4, question 3 can come from Unit 5. After question 1, then you are going to move to the next one. You'll be asked to define some computer terms. If you remember in computer literacy 2, you are going to be asked to define terms like this. Okay, I didn't mention them here. You get to define terms like what is a browser, what is a search engine, what is ISP, what is internet, what is home page. These are many other computer terms that you might be asked to explain. A browser, internet, home page, and so on. But the ones that I have mentioned does not necessarily mean that these are the ones that will come out, but there will be various terms that you will be asked to explain in your examination. Now, let us look at something that is very, very important again. And what is that? Terminologies that we use when it comes to examination. Discuss, evaluate, describe, distinguish, differentiate. A student at times might know what to do. Might know the answer, but might not know how to answer it properly. That is why you see when you are done marking, a student score maybe 45 or 47. So, oh, let me go for remarking. I'm sure I pass. But at the end of the remarking, the mark, you begin to wonder, what have I done wrong? I know this question, but the question is, did the question say you should define or you should discuss? Did the question says you should define or you should discuss? If a question says you should discuss, you do not just give the definition and leave it like that. You define, you discuss the concept, and give an example where necessary. So pay attention to all these ways. The explanation to these words, to these terms, they are well stated in your study guide. And this one that talks about distinguish, differentiate, for you to differentiate and distinguish, you define and bring out the differences. Bring out the differences. Do not just define when a question says differentiate. Let me focus on one or two examples. Please take note, my student. These examples are not questions that are coming out in the exam. So do not say, I have given you questions here. No, these are just examples that I want to give to you so that you can know how to approach your discussion. For example, discuss the advantages of using internet in education. What can you say about that question? What are the keywords here? Advantages, the good things of what? Using the internet. Where? In education. In education. I did not say advantages of internet in our society. No, in education. So, what can you do with internet in education? Can you identify your point and discuss them? Look at the sample answer that I give to you. Number one, I can say, keeping you updated with latest information. That is one point that I have mentioned. Then after mentioning the point, what is it that I have to do again? I discuss. Then I bring out another point. It makes communication between parents and teachers more easier. That is another point. Then I discuss. It makes communication between parent and teacher more easier. I'll give you 1 mark there. That is a fact. Then after looking at that, I start reading your discussion. Then I will award you marks according to how well your discussion is well done. And probably if there are examples. So do not mix them together. Do not mix them together in such a manner that I look at your answer. I don't know if you are talking about latest information or you are talking about communication. Everything is just mixed up together. In education, we call it dumping. Dumping, meaning you are dumping both the good and the bad. You are dumping both the advantages and disadvantages together. What it tells me as a marker is that you are not very sure of the answer. So, what will I do? I'll mark you wrong. Because it's like you are guessing, you are not very sure of what you are doing. This thing is very important. I repeat it so many times, but I keep on saying it. List your point one by one, please, students. Let your point be clear. Don't mix them together. It's not a story here. It's an examination. Another very important thing that I want you to get in this presentation is do not repeat your points by rephrasing them with another words. For example, some students, you ask them, what do you do with internet? I can use the internet to get the latest information. That is the first point they write for you. I use the internet to get latest information. Second point, I can use the internet to pass information to parents. Third point, I can use internet to discuss information with my student. What is wrong with that answer? Your first point is about information. Second point is about information. Third point is about information. So it earns you only 1 mark. So do not repeat words by using their synonyms. No. Again, when a question says, give 3 points, do not give more than 3. It will not earn you more marks. If I say, give 3 points, give me the 3 points. Don't give me less, do not give me more. Let me give you one example. You ask students at times, I'm still on this point, the advantages of internet in education. They can list for you almost 10 advantages, but none of them is discussed. None of them is explained. You get 3 marks only. Only 1 mark for the point. You get no other mark. So if I ask you to list 3, discuss 3 advantages of internet in education, you now decide to give me 10 points. You did not explain any one, thinking that the 10 would give you the 9 point. I will just pick the first one, 1 mark. Why am I giving you 1? Because you did not discuss, you did not explain your facts. So I'll give you only 1. So at the end, I take my red pen and cancel the rest and give you only those 3 marks. Because you did not do what is expected of you. Let's go to another area of computer literacy too. This time around, the Microsoft Excel, which poses a little of challenge to students at times. This poses a little of challenge. It's one of the challenging areas that I've seen with students when it comes to computer literacy. But remember, I gave you an assignment on it, name. So it's the same thing that I gave you and that I'm going to examine you now. But this time around, theoretically. So on the screen is a sample question. On the screen is a sample question and a sample. I'm going to give you some answers about it. Listen. The Rockhopper Mountain Bike Club holds a series of 3 races during the section. Cyclists are awarded points according to the position they finish. The spreadsheet below shows a copy of the results of the cyclists. Why is it important for you to read the intro to the question? Reading the intro to the question gives you an idea of what the table is all about. So do not jump to the table without reading the intro to the table. That's why I read it first. So read it. You know what it's all about already. Now, what next? You go to the question. Question 1. Name any cell on the spreadsheet that contains a value. Any cell. I did not say cells. That contains a value. A value in Microsoft Excel is number. I want to spend a little bit of time on this. A value is a number. Any cell that contains a value. So if I go back to my spreadsheet, I can say cell B3 is correct because B3 is having 300. So it's a value. Cell C4 is having, if you look at cell C4 here, this is cell C4, is having 200. It's It's a value. So all I need to do is to write the name of the cell. Do not write for me. When I say give a cell that contains a value by writing for me B3, C4, C2, so many cells. No, I only ask for one. So I've seen situation students will write for you both the correct cells and the incorrect cells. Then what does that tells me? It leaves me with no other option than to conclude that you are just guessing. You are not very sure about the answer. Hence, I cancel your answer because you are not very sure. Because you have both so many correct and so many incorrect. Meanwhile, I only ask for one. So, whenever a question says a cell that contains a value, look at your table and see any cell that has number in it. Write that cell. Then in writing your cells, do not write your cells like this. Some do write like this, which is wrong. Let me give you one example. So we say 4C. This is wrong. It should be C4, the alphabet before the number. The alphabet before the number. All right? Okay. Let's move down to the next sample question. Name any cell on the spreadsheet that contains a label. A label is an alphabet, letters. So something like cell A1, which contain name, cell B1, which contain raise 1, cell A5, which contain Ronald. Any cell where you can find an alphabet or a letter, just write it. Those ones are referred to label. Question 1.3 says, who won the race? Then you go, how will you know who won the race here? You look at race 1, race 2, race 3. So at the end we are going to have totals here. The person with the highest total definitely won the race. I did not say which cell has the highest total. That is not my question. Who won the race? That is the name of the person. Pay attention to your question before you write. So it is not all the time that I ask you the name of the cell. Not all the time. At times I ask you the content of the cell, not just the name. That is why instructions, paying attention to instructions in examination is very, very necessary component of an examination. I want to answer the next question now. Question 1,4. How many columns are on the spreadsheet? How many columns are on the spreadsheet? This is something else that also, as simple as that question is, students used to miss that question. Why? When we say how many columns, these are the columns. Look at them. Column 1, column 2, you see, column A, column B, column C, column D, column E. So how many columns do I have here? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 columns. But do you know where the mistakes always come from at times? Here is where the mistake comes. Students at times want to count this as a column. This is not a column. This is not a column. We are moving the mouse now. It's not a column. Every column must have an alphabet on top. Every column must have an alphabet on top. So this is not a column. The columns start from where the alphabet is. The same question goes to the next one. How many rows do you have there? I have row 1, row 2, row 3, row 4, 5, 6, 7. 7 rows. You do not count these as your role. This one is not part of your role. This is the columns heading. The rows start with a number. So number 1, row 1, row 2, row 3. Do not count these as part of your role. These are column headings. So as simple as that question is, do you not see why students fail such little questions? It is when you fail to pay adequate attention to my presentation and you fail to pay adequate attention to the study guide. Are you fine? I can see you smiling from here. Mr. Edu, how are you seeing me? I can see you smile. I know you are smiling. Do you know why you are smiling? Because I know you are going to pass computer literacy this year. You are not just going to pass, you are going to have A's, A stars. Somebody is already saying amen. I'm not praying, I'm just wishing you. Alright? Let's go to another part of question that has to do with Excel. That has to do with writing of formulas. The assignment that I gave to you, you calculated things using formulas. The assignment that I gave to you, you calculated things using formulas in that assignment. Here, I'm going to test your understanding on how formulas are used. Let's take an example. Question 1, says, it says, write down the formula which should be in cell E2. So how do you approach the question? E2, go back now to your spreadsheet. You go back to the spreadsheet. Then you look for E2. Look for E2. Mr. Edo, why are you looking for E2? Because my question says the formula that should be in E2. That is why I am looking for E2. So where is E2? Column E, row 2. So this is E2. So which formula is going to be here? I want you to write that formula for me. How do you know the formula to write? Look at the heading of that column. What is the heading of this column? Is total. Total. So is the total of raise 1 plus raise 2 plus raise 3. Give me the total point 1 by that cyclist. How do I know it's a cyclist? I read it from my intro. That's why I say you should read. Yeah. So whenever it comes to calculating totals, additions, can you remember what you used in your assignment? I can hear somebody saying sum. Good, you are correct. Repeat it again. Sum. You are correct. So let us write it now. Watch as I write. Look as I write. This is how I'm going to write my answer now. I will say equal. Listen, guys. Whenever you are going to write a formula, the first thing you write is equal sign. If the equal sign is not there, automatically we mark it wrong for you. I repeat, if the equal sign is not there, it is marked wrong for you. It's a very important component of a formula. So say equal. Then I will say sum. Mr. Edo, why are you using sum? Because this function is used to add values together. Sum is used to add values together. It's a function. In your study guide, you will see various functions that are discussed there. So I will say sum, then I will open a bracket. Then I will now say B2. Why am I writing B2? I want to add 300 plus 100 plus 250 to have my answer. So the 300 is in cell B2. The 300 is in what cell? Cell B2. So that is why I wrote B2. Then after that, I'll put the 2. The 2. This is how we write the 2. This is another common mistake that students make. Instead of writing it like this, they will write this. No, we don't use that. This is an illegal character in formulas. We don't use this. We don't use this. So, to D2 and close the brackets. The question is again, Mr. Edo, where did you get this D2 from? This D2 is here. So what I have said is, please computer, add for me from B2 to D2. So you can write it this way. Without using the function, you can just use a formula by saying equal B2 plus C2 plus D2. It's the same thing. You can write it either like this or like this. You can take it one by one. But writing it like this has an advantage. Which advantage does it give to you? In this question, luckily enough, there are just 3 cells here. What if the cells, they are up to maybe 15 or 20? Once you miss one, then everything is wrong. So if I have 20 cells to write, then I begin to write them one by one. 20 cells, one by one, into 20 of them. If I miss one, my answer is automatically wrong. So if I have C1, C2, C3, C4, C5, C6, C7, C8, C9, C10, 10 of them. Instead of me writing them one by one, better to say C1 to C10. It saves you the stress. It saves you the problem of probably forgetting one. That is why I prefer the first method. But should you use this, nothing wrong. You are right. I'll mark it for you. Do you understand? Good. Let us look at the other question there, which also has to do with formulas. E6, cell E6. Let us look at it here. Let's look for E6 here. Where is it here? I'm looking for it. Can you find it? Can you find it? Yes, here we are. Yeah, we got it. How do you know it's E6? Mr. How do you know it's E6? Because this is column E. How do I know it is E6? Because this is column E and this is row 6. Where do they meet? They meet here. Nah? Can you say it's simple? Can you say it's simple? Computer is not magic. It's technology. This is E6. So, what are you going to write? Which formula is going to be here now? What comes to your mind is total, which means whatever I get for John plus Ferrari plus Simon plus Ronald, everything here should be added. I need the total. Can you see the total? The total is here. So I'm looking for all this total here. Add everything together here. Can you see that now? Add everything together there. So, tell me the formula. Although I cannot hear you from here, it is equal. Let me change my marker quickly. It is equal. Tell me the first one. I can use some. Let's use some first. Sum, open a bracket, E2, okay, E2 to E5. Wait, let's look at it. This is E2 to E5. See? E2 to E5. That's why I wrote it here. Sum E2 to E5. Can you write it using the second method? Yes. Equal. Can you observe that each time I write a formula, first I write the equal sign? Yes. So I can say equal E2, okay, E2 plus E3 plus E4 plus E5. You can write it this way. So you are going to see questions on Microsoft Excel that will ask you to write formulas. We spent quite a lot of time on Microsoft Excel. Let us leave Microsoft Excel now and move to Microsoft PowerPoint. Microsoft PowerPoint. You created a PowerPoint presentation for me the other time. Can you remember? In case you have forgotten, you can go back to your assignment. There you will see the Microsoft PowerPoint that you created for me. Now I'm going to ask you, for example, what are the basic steps to create Microsoft PowerPoint? What do you do if you are going to create Microsoft PowerPoint? You open Microsoft PowerPoint, then what? Then what? What are the basic steps? Can you differentiate between a freeware and a shareware? Can you talk about things like that? What are the common issues that we have in PowerPoint and how to fix them? Check all these things in your study guide. Okay? Computer viruses. What is a computer virus? How do you remove computer viruses? How do you prevent your computer from having viruses? These and other things. There is something in your study guide that students have been ignoring, which is the use of a Skype. How to use Skype to communicate. Have you tried to use Skype to communicate? Last year in 2020, there was COVID. The time of COVID, can you remember most people were using Zoom and Skype? It's part of the things in your study guide. Have you come across it? Can you use Skype to communicate? Can you tell me how to use Skype to communicate? If I want to use Skype to communicate, what do I need before I can use Skype? Please practice it. What about email? Can you send an email? Do you know how to send an email? All these should be practiced in your assignment and in your preparation for your examination. The very last thing is, how can you write a short story based on a picture? So if you are given a picture, can you develop a short story on it? Yes. Do not describe the picture. Rather, write a short story that talks about the picture. Unfortunately, my time is almost up. Do not forget the other aspect of your computer literacy, that is library information science, please. The library information science is 20% of your examination. How to evaluate a book. What is the difference between a fiction and a non-fiction? Will you be able to explain? So many other things. Everything in this study guide. Can you write a reference using an APA format? Please pay attention and practice all these things. Unfortunately, my time is up in the studio. I cannot go further than this. I wish I could spend more time with you. But never mind, we still have time together. Alright? So free to contact Mr. Edu. Call my number. Email me. Send me messages. Mr. Edu will be there to help you. I wish you all the best in your examination. I wish you pass your examination at the end so that you can wear this black gown. The black gown where we will award you the certificate from Iol. I want you to smile like this beloved student of mine. I wish you the best in your examination. Thank you.